Welcome back to the DJ Sessions presents the virtual sessions where we feature the best DJs, producers, and agents from around the world. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming to me via Zoom halfway around the world, I believe Barcelona, we got Tony from the TEN Ibiza Agency on the line with us today. Tony, how's it going today?
What's up, Darren? I'm based in Madrid right now, not Barcelona, in Madrid.
Okay, close.
On the world, all the way around. So yeah, I'm all good, man. All good with a lot of work. A lot of stuff going on right now. Everything, you know how it's going right now with COVID, new stuff. So a lot of restructuring, a lot of things going on, but all good, all good.
Yeah, you know, we're excited. We just did an interview recently with PM, and you know, that was awesome. Some great things came out of that. We talked about Sonar Festival and some stuff he'll be putting together for that. Very excited. Don't want to announce anything just yet, but we're looking at definitely getting over to Sonar based on that interview. But you have an agency, and very rarely do we get to talk with a lot of the agencies, the bookers. And for people that don't know, one of the things, Tony is one of the key contact points that we talk to on the back end, which helps kind of make the magic of the DJ sessions happen, because without people like him, these artists, they have representation. And Tony is one of those people out there that does represent artists on a national, international level. I'd say national from Spain, but you help coordinate things on an international level, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you know, the industry is getting back. It's changing. You know, you're seeing things pick up. What was it like for you, you know, with everything kind of being shut down? Were you out of work, or were you strategically planning on the back end?
So I think whoever said was out of work, it's because they didn't want to work, you know, because maybe, yeah, things got a bit rough on the economic side. There were a lot of cancellations, a lot of postponing certain tours and whatever. But I think every problem could be used as an opportunity, and that's what we did. We tried to take advantage that we had a lot of time, so we could plan out and dedicate a bit more time with all the artists to make a certain strategy. It could be digital, it could be a lot of time in the studio as well to create more music and to recreate their sound, to focus on the laborious side, maybe that's not a word, on the hard part, on the you know, and that's what we did. We focused a lot on that, because yeah, normally our DJs, I represent Oriol Calvo is the head, also at TEN Ibiza. We have PM in the agency as well. We're in the works and signing a couple more artists. We have Eno as well as exclusive artist, which we focus all our energy in. And yeah, the thing is, on summer it's crazy schedule. You know, it's crazy schedule. They're going from Ibiza to Egypt to South America. Here in Spain as well, there's a lot of gigs, so there's not really much time to just sit on the studio and dedicate a good time put into music. So I think the pandemic was a great opportunity for that, great opportunity to launch a couple stuff we have working on. For example, the podcast on the agency, we had time to work on that as well, and right now we're about to launch it on a couple radio stations. I'll keep you posted on that for sure. And yeah, man, that's a bit how we managed our time and how we try to use this time as an opportunity to focus on other back end stuff, things you don't normally see so much, but are also as important to build a good structure, a good base, and yeah, have a platform to launch even further after.
Absolutely. And when I go to the TEN Ibiza Agency website, first of all, for those that don't know, what got you started in this industry? Before we dive into what TEN Ibiza does, how did you get involved in all of this?
Yeah, well, I guess since I was very young, I've always been music fan. It's always been at my core. I've always been super interested by it since I was young. I was playing Guitar Hero. That was the only video game I was playing. Going a lot of concerts where the EDM phase was on with Avicii, with Steve Aoki, with Swedish House Mafia. This time I was going to a lot of concerts, and I don't know, one thing led to another. During right before the pandemic, I started working on photo and video, and we got the opportunity to work with um, Abracadabra, the Blondish label. They have a Twitch channel as well, so we filmed a couple stuff for them, and that's how I was like, well, there could be a chance for me here. So I studied myself. I did a master's on music business on a school over here in Spain, and yeah, I met a person there who got me in contact with the agency right now, and yeah, man, one thing led to another, and here I am.
Awesome. Well, I mean, looking at the TEN Ibiza website, like you said, it kind of is all over the world. I'm looking at the kind of map right now, and it definitely has a lot of focus in Europe, but, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, USA, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Russia, it's kind of all over the place. Looks like it's going to really start taking a foothold. And now that things are opening up, you're able to move forward on a lot of stuff. What would be some of the key points or key goals of TEN Ibiza Agency?
Okay, so as an agency, our core are the artists, right? And that's our main business stream, but also our passion. That's what we do. We like to put artists on the map and get them the exposure they deserve, putting them in certain gigs that could be beneficial for them. So yeah, I think the goal is keep expanding. Right now, we're a small agency, so of course there's certain territories where we have stronger bases. So yeah, work on them, build more structure, and expand to other ones. Right now, I think we're at a point where it's a good time to contact a lot of people who are, maybe they're not so active right now because things are just starting to open up. So I think it's a good opportunity to just stay in touch. Old contacts that maybe stopped doing things during the pandemic, because I think during the pandemic a lot of people weren't so in touch, or maybe if you're on the other side of the world, it's hard to keep a weekly call, what's up, how you doing during the pandemic. So I think we try to do that as much as we can, and right now keep doing it, keep expanding, keep looking for new opportunities, and yeah, that's the plan for now.
And you take on exclusive artists and you do non-exclusive artists. Tell us the difference between the two.
Okay, so with our exclusive artists, what we do is that's where we focus most of our energy. That's where we run a strategy. We run it could be kind of a management as well, like variant, because with a small agency and with the team, we try to help artists as much as we can in every single way. So if they need a hand on maybe a little bit on social media, maybe give a hand with their release plan for a single, for an album, for an EP, to contact certain labels, we do that as well. So that part is only focused on our exclusive artists. And on the non-exclusive artists, let's say they're artists which we trust, we have a very good relation with them, and in case anyone would be interested in having them, or maybe there's an event where all of our artists are touring somewhere else, we'll call them up and be like, hey man, there's this opportunity, come on. But the main focus, it's not on the exclusive ones. The main focus would be on the exclusive artists for sure.
And when you're looking to bring on an exclusive artist, what qualities or benchmarks what do you look for when bringing on an artist to your agency?
Okay, so the first thing I think that's important, we look at their music. I think that's the basic thing. Their music. If it's first of all, if we like it, you know, if we like the music, if we think it's good, if we think it has potential. Second of all, their consistency or activity, you know, because I think it's important. Maybe if there's an artist who had one hit song 4 years ago, and then he hasn't put out anything, even though that song was popping 4 years ago. We're in a non-stop changing environment and place. It's so fast changing, so fast paced, that we need to stay consistent, we need to stay active. So that'll be the second thing. How active are they? And active, I mean, in every different part from an artist's career. That could be from releases, with gigs, with social media. I think that would be the three pillars of what we would see their activity on. Of course, there are artists who are a lot stronger at certain parts, but they have to have already uh, a career, a beginning. So, because it's hard for us, it's a lot of work to bring an artist from nothing to something, right? And it's maybe for us right now at this point, it's not a priority to bring on an artist who's just starting out, because it'll be too much time involved to developing their career. So we're looking for someone who's already had a certain activities, certain contacts, who running their gigs and who are interested in them. They're constantly doing songs, well, putting out songs, and of course they have to be a focused person, a person willing to work, a professional person who's seeing this as a business and not as a hobby and a party. And yeah, I think this could be a couple parameters that we focus on when looking what artists to to bring on the agency.
Now, something that we were talking a little bit before pre-show,
Mhm.
is the controversy that some artists can sometimes find themselves in
Mhm.
today's social media environments, with things like cancer culture coming into play. One wrong thing said in an interview, or one picture being taken by an audience member, can hit Twitter or can hit Instagram, and all of a sudden a person is looked at in a certain way because
For
somebody
sure.
wanted to add context or meaning that wasn't there. How do you deal with that as an agency with your clients?
I think the first step, I think, or the first thing we have to keep in mind is artists right now, they're not just musicians anymore. They're also content creators, and they have to be active on social media. They have to be posting. Everyone's going to do their own thing, but they have to have a strategy. They have to have a plan. They have to have certain parameters that they're accomplishing to make it work. With this said, I don't think every single one of them would be super hardwired like an influencer that's their only focus, for example. So sometimes maybe an artist could go on and say something that maybe, if, like you said, if it's put out of context, it could be pictured in a different way that it was intended in the first place. And so yeah, our main focus, or our main thing when we talk about it with our clients and with our artists, would be don't put any more attention to it, first of all, you know, because if it's, I think if it's a huge problem, and it's something where you screwed up, I think there's an opportunity there to acknowledge it, and to apologize if that's what you have to do, to acknowledge you were wrong, and take the correct steps. But if it's something that it was just taken out of context and people are just talking about it without knowing, our main focus would be, instead of trying to address it direct and be like, I didn't do this is not what I meant, whatever. I think what you're doing there is just putting more attention to it and making it more of a conversation. So we would try to talk with our PR team as well, and maybe look for subtler ways to shift the attention from what's happening. For example, let's say I say something completely outrageous, taken out of context in this interview, right? And somebody takes it out of context and just posted it on Twitter, like you said. What I would try to do if I was the artist, I would try to, for example, post the whole interview without bringing any attention, without saying anything from what they're saying. I would, or maybe post a bit from the part where I was explaining the whole bit on my social media, so things speak for themselves, right? Because if you didn't do anything wrong, I think situations speak for themselves, and yeah, that's, I think, the approach we would take. And the steps regarding the clients, we would try to tell the truth, right? Tell the truth. Listen, this was taken out of context. Here you have the whole interview. This is what he was saying. This is what he was doing. And if still you want to cancel the show, well, listen, there's nothing we can do, right? You're gonna do whatever you got to do, and it is what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big, whoa, I guess that's your, sorry about that. That is your website right there. As I'm kind of going around looking for information.
Directly. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes directly and starts playing in the background. But, a lot of artists, that I've spoke to that have been in the industry for years, they kind of, it's kind of become a norm now and they get it. But in the early years, with the advent of cell phones and cameras and social media being right there, they might be behind the decks. And the only person that would get a photograph of them would be the on-site photographer. And that photographer would get, hundreds of photos and then go back and choose the best photos to use. But now I could be there filming with my phone and somebody could sneeze behind the stage and they get them in like, some weird pose. And then they hashtag it and put it on Instagram and go, oh my God, look at this funny picture. And it's like, what was this person thinking? They could add their own context to it, saying, look how crazy this person looked last night playing behind the, and it's like, I sneezed behind the decks last night. It was just a sneeze, like achoo, like, or some weird, it's like that paparazzi footage when they get him coming out of the car and, and they try to look how messed up they looked or look how bad they looked. And it's like, the person was just getting out of a car, but somebody halfway around the world might not know that. And they might see it go, wow, that person looked like they were drunk, or they looked like they were high on drugs, or, and those kind of things happen. And it may just happen because, and the person thinks it's just innocent, like just tweeting away or Instagramming away, not thinking that, hey, this person's on stage. You really don't have permission to be using their likeness and image and shoot them, but they are a celebrity in a club, which is why I've seen this happen around the world, and even in my own backyard, parties that are called no signal parties, where you actually have to turn in your device as you go into the event. And that way there's no cell phones on the floor. There's no cameras on the floor like that. And, I think that is kind of an interesting take on it. Plus, people aren't doing this during the show, or they're doing this during the show, and they're actually enjoying the show and enjoying the music. And I think that's a huge point. I know that Apple back in the day had filed for patent for an infrared sensor that you could put sensors on the stage at any event. And if you turned your camera on when you went like this, the sensor would read it and it would say, not allowed to take a picture, not allowed to record.
Really?
Yeah, your camera would not be able to. Yeah, and it's an infrared sensor sent from the stage, and it would read it and say, sorry, we're realized you don't have permission to film this right now. I think they put it in place someplace. So I'm not sure if it's out there yet, but that would be a huge advantage for the music industry to prevent things like that from happening, especially for nightclubs, bars, and events. They could go and put these infrared sensors in. I mean, what sucks is though you aren't going to be able to sit there and go, let me take a picture with me and Tony at the show, you know, because it's going to say, sorry, can't take a picture.
Or I think there's two ways of looking at it. There's that part where you're talking about where maybe they could capture you in a wrong moment. Maybe it's not your best phase. Maybe, like you said, you're sneezing and it looks like you're super on drugs. But I think on another side, you also have the part when maybe you're playing this bomb track, right? You're playing this bomb track, and then it just so happens that this person who has maybe 10,000 followers, maybe less, he just happened to film right on the drop, and then that single video might just go viral, and then that might just make your song pop off, and that just may catapult you to a lot of different shows, festivals. So I think how I look at it and how I like to approach that situation is, listen, everything has a price, right? And if that's the way things are working, we have to make the best out of it, and we have to find the balance. I think it's nice to have some parties for sure where there's no cameras, where it's a bit more underground, you know, that culture. Maybe could be an after party, right? After party people, you don't look as fresh as you do at 10 o'clock at night, maybe at 4 in the morning. So music's different. So I think there's space for everything, right? So you have to consider that it's a reality, and you can't stop it, right? We could try to put everything in this, but humans, we're smart. We'll try to make a way out of it, you know. We'll try to take a picture. Maybe we'll bring, you know, the Insta photos and just print it out and then take a picture and post it, and then we'll find a way. So I think we should just make the best out of it. And if you happen to be in one of these situations, have close people and with you and a good team, so you can know how to manage any situation like this. And yeah, man, just go forward.
What might be cool is if something like that, you know, from a photo standpoint, here's an idea for, I'm sure somebody has done this, is that you kind of like check out one of those cameras that you buy with the film in it, a disposable camera. You check it out and then you turn it back in, and then the event goes and processes all the film and then puts those pictures online. And it was like the audience, those are the pictures that were taken by the audience that get to be put up online, and control it from that standpoint. That could be kind of a fun thing to do.
For sure.
You know, obviously I don't know if I don't even know, do they make those disposable cameras anymore? I don't.
Sure they do. Yeah. That's a great idea, man.
Yeah. So, idea. I mean, you put it, you know, part of your price of admission is you include that, but we'll process it for you. So you take it, shoot your 24 pictures, turn it back into us, and then we'll put all the film, the roll. We'll digitize it, because it should. When you get those film rolls now, they should digitize all that for you too, and then you could go through and put them all online, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you know, and you can make specific. You can name the albums, you know.
For sure. It's amazing because it's not just, hey, that's me in the picture. It's also, hey, look, I took that picture. You know, it has both sides, and it makes you feel like you're a lot more part of the event than you could usually be. So
absolutely,
that's a bomb idea for sure.
I'll have to implement it sometime. Maybe we'll look at getting Kodak or Fuji as one of our sponsors, and every show we do, we'll get donated like, you know, 50, 60 cameras to have our own in-audience photo team. It'd be cool. But you know what, going forward to, you know, the future, 2022 is right here. It's now. Things are in planning stages. Things are opening up. Things like Ultra Music Festival, ADE is on the rise. Sonar, which I'd love to talk with you about, you know, in your involvement in that, or what that's like. What is that feeling like? That it's just feeling like things are coming back.
Listen, man, it's super exciting. It's super exciting. Starting with Ibiza, there's been 2 years where there's no summer over there. This summer, there was just some beach clubs open, but there was no nightlife. Amnesia, the opening was one day and the next day was closing, you know? So It was just one night. So I think people are super excited to come back. Big festivals are coming back as well. And I think that's super exciting for us. Super, super exciting. It's a great moment because not only the fans and people are excited to be back on the show and to experience live music, but also artists, they went through a lot of time without having this big stage for them. So I think it gave them time to evolve, to replant their new sound, new identity, new image, whatever they do, and present this new face to the people. I think it's going to be great moment. From I th- I always think that as low as we go, that's how high we're gonna go, right? So if we go all the way to the floor, there we're gonna go all the way to the sky. So yeah, man, we went pretty low this couple of years, doing absolutely nothing. That's how high we're gonna go for sure.
Yeah, and even with the advent of new technologies like live streaming, that became obviously a huge way that artists could still stay in contact with their fans and still do things in a worldly kind of thing but still stay engaged with their fans online. I actually, after doing a live streaming DJ show for 10 years, to see everyone finally jump on to embrace a technology that I've been trying to knock on doors and tell everyone about how awesome this would be if people just did this as a kind of component to what they already do. Nothing is going to replace the live in-person element ever. I mean, that's just impossible. And some people are, still weary that if I go live online, it's going to take away from people wanting to see me in person. I don't think that's the truth in any way, shape, or form. I think it just adds to it that if you have a fan and that fan wants to see you in person, they're going to go see you in person. If they want to watch you online, they're going to watch you online. And they're going to always love and always be there, which then you have the ability to now sell merchandise to. You have the ability to sell or give away first round tracks to, or listening parties, or they can sign them up on memberships and get, more residual return. Because if you had 10,000 fans around the world and, you look at it from a business standpoint and you were able to get $1 a month from each of those fans, if they paid $12 a year to be part of your fan club, that would be $120,000 extra that artist would get to create with, to then they could put that into their show creation, into their talent, into the development, into their overall, aesthetic of what they do, whether it's merchandise or whatever, and give that back to having extra residual income in the sense of things to help increase their net worth. And I think a lot of people, if they're not having those conversations, they should start having those conversations. Yeah, I think what we're going to see is a lot of people figuring out, the platforms they're using now to do live streaming on, it isn't that much of a step to move over to a complete pay-per-view or membership-based system where, hey, I'll do some stuff free out here to promo, but you want to see a pay-per-view show? Come over here and pay $5 and I'll do something from my house for you for $5 or from my studio for $5. And you can subscribe to these shows and only people with a subscription can get access to it. And if you're charging, I mentioned $1 a month, imagine if you were charging $5 a month,
of course,
and you had 10,000 fans. Okay. That becomes a $600,000, $500,000 a year thing. And you're looking at a $5 a month of subscription, and those people could be the first to get things. Those people could be the first. And then you throw a show and you say, hey, guess what? All my subscribers, you get first access to tickets to my shows.
Mm-hmm.
Before the general public gets anything, you get access to this, and you're going to get this access. Or when I go live, you're going to be put in this special VIP room, and only my subscribers can be in the chat room. Everyone else is out here. They can see the chat room going, but they can't chat because they're not in the VIP. You could sell VIP tiers.
Yep.
As well as it goes up, and say somebody could say, oh, I spend $20 a month and I'm in the VIP room at every show. They're like, hey, it's good to see you in the VIP room. So-and-so, Tony, Darren, what's up? You're always here in the VIP room. And that's shouting out to all the friends. You're like, oh, he gave you a shout out. Yeah. And having that connection that can be built. But something that's I'm looking forward to now that we've kind of broke the dam on live streaming is virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And where virtual reality and augmented reality are going to go. Have you had those kind of conversations, or have you looked into anything of that in that realm with your talent that you represent?
I mean, I think it's a world. Of course, we had several conversations. Of course, it's a topic that we've discussed. It's a reality, man. It's here, and we have to be on it for sure, for sure. I think there's a way to do things, right? And with us, I think the music industry, or more every industry, they're kind of, in some ways, they're kind of coming together, right? In different areas. Like you said, for example, the subscription based, like a Patreon, for example, right? Like an OnlyFans, that kind of stuff. Influencers are doing it. Maybe YouTube channels are doing it. Artists, they just follow up, right? Because like I said before, artists are not just musicians anymore, they're content creators, and you have to stay relevant because we're in a culture right now where things just go out of date super quick, super quick, and people need new stimulation every single day, more and more and more and more and more. So you have to stay relevant and you have to stay there. So you have to find this different kind of ways. Streaming opened a huge door, but I think the next step, and what I think this will take, is, for example, the meta is here. The meta is here, and in the meta, how I picture it is maybe, this concerts they did on Fortnite with Marshmello and Travis Scott.
Yeah.
I think that was just a quick touch of what things could be, right? Because you have the Oculus. Have you ever tried the?
We're in process of building our own VR nightclub right now.
Yeah, so, well, that's the reality that's already here, man.
Yeah,
it's amazing how you can teletransport yourself and be in there. So I think this is just an opportunity for artists. Like you said, it's never gonna be, and it's never gonna take place of the live, because that interaction, that energy the artist transmits you is unique. But I think it's a great compliment to also give an opportunity to maybe a lot of people who are not on your region, or maybe they don't have access to go to one of your shows because it's 5 hours on a plane from where you are. I think it gives them an opportunity to be a part of your project as well, and it makes you also have a so much closer connection, right? It makes you be so much close. It makes you have so much proximity to the artist, which is something that maybe 30 years ago was unimaginable. 30 years ago, I think people were seeing the artists as superheroes, as movie act, like people that are just unreachable. And if you found someone, it'll be amazing. Then we had social media where you can just send a text to them, right? They could answer, and that's a possibility. And I think that's one thing that it excites a lot of fans. And then we're going to the next step where maybe you can be in the same room as him. If you're a huge fan, like you said, if you're in a subscription based, maybe you get into this chat room, and that chat room becomes just this virtual nightclub where you're doing a special show just for your huge fans, and you can have a conversation with the artist, like face to face.
Yeah.
Digital face to face, right? So yeah, I think this is something we have to keep in mind. We have to stay focused on, and yeah, definitely, man, I agree.
Yeah, it's gonna be it. I don't see this being some hype, or it's gonna bubble and then go down. It's gonna push through for the next 10 years, and those that are the early adopters of this that can get on and then make sure they're maintaining that. I know it's one more thing to maintain for an artist, in that sense of like, oh, I just got a handle on social media. Now I have to have a VR environment. Now I have to have an avatar. Now I have to be kind of present or have something cool or do something there as well. Okay, but it's just one of those things. And I think you're going to see the real early adapters are going to be the younger generations that are coming up that understand that the socials are already ingrained in their head because they were already doing it naturally. And they're like, I get it. I need to be on those socials. But the ones that say, you know what, I need to be in virtual reality, or how can I have an augmented reality experience for my shows where somebody could be on stage and then they can pull up their phone and then see a different show happening, where that phone comes back into play. Eventually we'll have glasses, hopefully eventually contact lenses that'll come in. I'm working on a pretty big project right now on the back end. Hopefully in 6 months, we'll be able to start showing some demos about how a space that we're working with and how AR can come in and enhance that space, how VR can come in and enhance it, how AR can come in and enhance it, and live streaming on top of all of that, could really be, and also merging some other technologies that we're really excited about. I'll tell you about that off camera. I'm a big vague booker. A lot of people, I go on my socials all the time. I'm like, you won't believe what I just found out, but I can't tell you about it. And so when it comes out, I was just having a conversation with my mom the other day, and she's like, so what was that big thing you were talking about on Facebook? I'm like, which one? Okay, let me break it down for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Which one was it? At what time of day did I say, oh, okay, that was what I was talking about. This is what's going on. And even my mom is just getting into Oculus and loves it and wants to get one for virtual reality. She just got into social media like a year ago, but again, she loves it. She gets it. She sees it. I've told her for years, it's a way you can stay in contact with me. Now I got her into VR and she's like, wow, I really like this thing. What do I do? And I go, wait till you see what I got going. You can actually come and hang out in our nightclub with us, Mom, while our shows are live. So I think the early adapters are going to take to this, and the ones that do take to it are going to be able to build that following, and definitely recommend to anyone to stay on top of that technology. What are the biggest things you're working on right now with the TEN Ibiza Agency? I mean, is there any? I know Sonar is planned to happen this year. Do you take part in the Sonar Festival there in Spain?
We have a couple plans for sure on Sonar because it's one of the biggest festivals, and it's not like all festivals. It's a unique festival that merges technology in such a cool way. It's such a unique festival. I don't think it's a combination of like a music festival with music conference, but also technology conference. It has all these different parts, and it's amazing. And for sure, we have some things. I'll tell you off camera as well. But we have some works going on in there, and you have to be a part of it. You have to stay relevant. You have to stay on the new stuff coming in all the time. Yep. And yeah, man, we'll be there if you're coming. That'll be a great place. I'll for sure see you there.
Absolutely. No, it's on our list. After talking with PM the other day, I literally made a post and said, we have Ultra Music Festival, we have Sonar, we have EDC, and we have ADE that are on our list. Obviously we have to get all our credentials and everything set in place and make sure we're all clear for these things, but that should happen. We got the credentials now, I think, to get it, but we want to make sure everything's dialed in there. But I think Sonar, I mean, I've never been to ADE before. I've been to Winter Music Conference and Ultra, went to EDC and what we're trying to work there. You're right. I think Sonar is one that excites me the most. Overall, especially some of the things that off camera we'll talk about that are going on there. But you're right. It's not just a normal music festival. It kind of has technology meets music kind of thing. And that's going to be exciting for us to be able to come over and be a part of that this year. We're definitely looking forward to that. But as far as projects go, anything that you can announce or anything that's it's out there? Or?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet, man. I would love to. I would love to, but we're still on the talks on this stuff, and we have to keep it. We have to keep it reserved for now. But we're excited. We're super excited. It's like I said, a unique festival, a unique space where it's not just music fans, it's also technology fans. Let's see how this year, because it's been 2 years since they did Sonar, so technology events is so quick. So let's see how video games play a part of this new festival, because video games, it's the biggest industry right now. The video game industry brings more revenue than all the other entertainment industries combined. That to me is a crazy stat, crazy stat. And I don't think we're fully understanding what's the potential for video games and how it can be merged with music. So I think I'm excited to see what Sonar has to bring, what new technologies they're bringing in, because I know um, from 2 years ago, I think 3 years ago, they were talking about 5G and how you could have a virtual concert, live concert. So, for example, I might be um, singing from my house, but I'm playing with a hologram at a 50,000 person arena, but I'm just from home, right? And it's just a hologram, but it's live, so I could have a screen. And that was 3 years ago. Let's see what new technologies come and what new stuff it's coming. I'm super excited for it for sure.
Definitely. You kind of spoke a little bit to something that we have cooking in the background. I have a company based out of Seattle here that we're going to be working very closely with over the next 6 months and launching something here. We'll have some demos of that technology very shortly. I've actually already seen it in work. I've already seen it work. We're just actually going to get some demos of it for the DJ sessions made, and this will probably, people will go,
Yeah.
whoa, how did you do that? Where is that coming from? How did you make that happen? And we're going to get literally out of a 2D environment and into a true 3D environment. And you're like, what did the DJ sessions just, what did they, and this is very proprietary too. It's not like open up, like you couldn't just go knock on a door and go find this in some back then. This guy that we're working with has developed this technology to make this happen. And he's like, nobody else in the world has anything like this at all. And I mean, maybe Facebook does, and Microsoft does, and Sony does, and the big Google does, and Apple does, but implementing it and making it work, I've seen it work. I've seen the technology work, and we're hopefully getting ready to roll this out, and people will go, whoa, how do I get on board with that? So you're right. We're going to see a lot of technology, a lot of things come out. CES just happened in Vegas. I haven't done any recap stories on that, but you're right. With the advent of 5G coming out, higher speeds, higher internet, better bandwidth, data transfer, that was a huge pain point, even for us as a live streaming company. I've been streaming since the days of 2.5G and 3G. And, I would go on site to an event and I do my testing, and when there's not 20,000 people around on the cell tower, it works just fine. But you go to the event and there's 25,000 people, you got no transmission. You have no internet, Yep. So unfortunately, I've had to spend some money on things to be able to be on a 5G network and be out of that. But technology is always changing. And I think anyone that doesn't stay caught up on it will be left in the dust. And somebody will come through and make it bigger. And then those opportunities will present themselves to those people, especially from a sponsor standpoint. Sponsors want to be on top of what's cutting edge. They want to be on top of what's next, and they know those trends. They want to, who has it dialed in, who has it ready to go. There goes the money, So,
and I think for Sonar, and it's a great opportunity to see, because what's amazing for me about this kind of festival or this kind of events, it's they're talking maybe 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, and they're talking to you about stuff that you're not going to see in the public for the next couple of years. So it's a great opportunity to put your mindset in the future and try to create a certain pathway to get to the where what these people are talking about. I think also a great opportunity for musicians and for artists right now, it's the NFTs. NFTs is a great way to make people part of your project. You could put your album, for example, selling it as an NFT, and in that way you're giving the person, your fans, a way to collaborate with you, a way of being part of your project. Maybe um it's like, from how I see it, it's like an evolution from what GoFundMe maybe could be, right? You have a GoFundMe, and then they trust in your project and they give you some funding, and then you send them like a vinyl maybe, or a digital album, or maybe a shout out, whatever. I think NFTs do that, but in a much more transparent way, in a much more interactive way, because you can see who has them, and you can make your fans be directly part of your project, so they can make money as you make money, right? So I think this is great. People should research into it, they should look into it, and see how they can make it fit into their profile and into their stuff, because it's a world and it's just starting out. So like you say, the pioneers and the people who get on it now are people who will have it easier in the future, for sure.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I was going to talk with you about as well, as the NFTs. And we're looking at NFTs as well. I mean, we sit right now on top of 2,200 plus videos that we've made over the last 12 years. Mm-hmm. And if we NFT'd all those videos, I mean, there's some back end, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with them. But, you know, to our fans, they could say, oh, wow, I own the NFT episode of that artist. I love that artist that was on your show. I own an NFT copy of that show. And number two, or we could say, oh, hey, Tony, thanks for coming on the DJ sessions. Here's an NFT version just for you of that show. You know, it's for coming on the show. You can do with it what you want. Put it up, you own it. What would be nice, what would be interesting is if we see an industry shift to something saying like on social media, you are only allowed to upload a picture that you own the rights to. So let's say, you know, that way, if somebody took that picture, we were talking earlier, and they took a picture in a nightclub, that artist could say, I never gave you permission to use that picture of me, or I only allow pictures of me to be published with this blockchain code on them. And then we can control their media presence in that sense. And something like Facebook or Instagram says, you don't own the NFT for this. You can't publish this image. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there could be a lot of different permissions, rights and permission things that go, or you do own the NFT right to this song. You can publish this song on social media because you do own and are licensed, you know, different levels of NFT.
Like you say, maybe you have the rights and you have the license. So maybe you could use it in your video. You could use it to promote yourself. Like you could make an actual use to the song, right? And also, if you decide to sell the song, you could do this thing where you take a 10% of every transaction, right?
Yeah.
And then the art, if me, for example, I'm an artist and I put out 1,000 NFTs, and I put them out for $1 each. It takes no money for me, but then they're gonna sold out. Let's be optimistic, and they sell out in one day, right? And then the resale value in 2 weeks, 1 month, it goes up to $50 to $60. It's a great way of thanking your audience of being part of your project, because they're getting paid to trust in you, right? If they really believe in what you're doing, they're getting paid for it, and you as well, you know. And I think it's a great opportunity. You have to be a part of this, because because it's just starting out. It's just starting out, and I don't think, like you said, I don't think we have any idea of where this could take us, right? We know it has value. I don't think we quite truly understand the direct value of how it can be. We're starting to figure it out, but there's a long way to go. And the faster we get into it, the quicker we're going to understand where it's going and how it could be the best use for us, for sure.
Yeah, we've talked about in our virtual nightclub having this different sections, putting up NFT only artwork in there, and then people could, while they're touring our nightclub, like once a month, we could change out the curation of the artwork in there, and people could actually then inquire to go buy that NFT piece that they see in our nightclub.
Yep.
And that would be a draw for people to always want to come back. Even if there's not a music event going on, they could still come back to it like an art gallery. And then hey, guess what? Next month is here. New NFTs are in place. And they want to come back, and they're like, oh, there's also a music event going on here too. Yeah, there's a live DJ playing, or here's some new episodes. It's going to be content creation in those virtual worlds that keep people going. Because if somebody goes to it's like a static website. I went there once, I read page 1, I read page 2, I read page 3. Okay, I came back and it's still page 1, page 2, and page 3. I came there, it's still page 1, page 2, and page 3. Why am I going to come back if it's not updating or changing information in any way, shape, or form? Why am I going to follow that? What's going to be the benefit of going there if nothing's changing? And in a nightclub environment, it's going to constantly, for us, our live streaming performances, our interviews that we're doing, the NFT artwork that's always changing in the different rooms and in those different experiences. It could even be just changing the color of the nightclub, like, oh wow, or this disco ball light wasn't there before, and changing that experience that you can't really shift in a real world, but you could in a virtual world. Shift that, and then we see NFTs playing a huge part of that. Well, other than that, is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get going?
Let's keep putting our passion into this industry, because I think it's one of the best ways to connect with people. Music is a universal language, and it's a way to get everyone together to make a better world, to be part of a better change. So to make a big change, you have to start changing yourself. And if we're part of the music industry, there's a lot of things that still could go better. So let's be part of the change. Let's get educated on certain topics so we know how to best apply it to them, to our values. And let's listen to good music all the time.
All the time. Awesome. And where can people find out more information about you and what TEN Ibiza Agency is all about?
So you can find out more information about the agency at www.tenibiza.com. If you can, write it down on the blog or wherever on the information. You can find me on Instagram at Tony Abascal. It's TonyAbascal. And yeah, if anyone has any doubts, anyone wants to reach out for anything, come on. I'm happy to have a conversation about anything. And yeah, man, thank you, Darren, so much for this. I think it's a great time, and it's great that you're not just only interviewing artists. So you're interviewing the backside, the backstage part of the industry, and yeah, man, educating people. That's the best thing we can do.
Some would say,
for sure, because I've been learning a lot from this conversation, man. A lot.
Some would say that's where the magic really happens. But don't let the artists know that, right? They're the magic, they're the sea, they're everything. No, I got it. I'm having some fun there.
Yeah. It's a toxic relationship. We can't work without them, but they couldn't work without us either. So yeah, man. Yeah.
Awesome, Tony. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate you having you here.
Thank you so much, Darren. Looking forward for more collaborations and more things we can do together, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony. And that's it for the virtual sessions. I'm Darren. That's Tony from TEN Ibiza Agency. Don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, find us on Twitter. Hashtag us the DJ Sessions or TDJS if you're so bold. Once again, Tony from TEN Ibiza Agency, Darren from Seattle, Washington for the virtual sessions. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.